Welcome back. So here's the tag you want to check out if you want to get to my code. So we're going to now actually start validating against a real model. So we want to make a user model so that when I put in username and password here, I can press sign in, and then it will actually try and validate. Still not using any service. We'll do that in the next lessons, but actually just a local validation if the user is actually one of the users in my list locally. So let's try and do that. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to go and create by using this ng tool, because we want to use the Angular CLI tool, and there's actually also a way to make a class. So let's just do that. And a class is simple to build, but I still want to show you a few commands in the terminal. So first of all, I need to use a cd, and then going into the source, into the app right here. That means that now I'm inside the app over here. If I just zoom, now I'm in this folder right here. In there, I'm going to build a new users, and I'm going to do that by saying make dir or mkdir, and I'm going to call it users like this. I'm going to go into that folder by doing cd users. Now the users folder, I'm going to use that for a component later as well to display all users and stuff like that. So we're just setting it up now. That's going to be the list of all our users later. Okay, so inside the users folder, we're going to try and run this command, ng class, and then give the class a name. So I'm going to copy that command, paste it in like this, and we're going to call it our user. That's going to be the model we're going to build. So we let it run, it makes the new user.ts file, and inside the users now we have a new file called user.ts, which is just export class user. That's all you had to write if you made it on your own. So it's just as easy to write this one on your own. I just want to show you the command. Now a user is going to have a username, right? So the username is going to be a string like this. A user is going to have a password, which of course is going to be encrypted, and all the great things that we can do with passwords. We'll get back to that later as well. A user is going to have an email address of some sort. That's also going to be a string. So now we defined a user, and we can start using him somewhere. We're not using him anywhere now. But the user is defined, and we can now start actually specifying how a user should work and look. And right now we're just going to go very basic here. We're just going to create a simple users list in here, and that users list we're going to just populate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new property here called users, and that's going to be a list of users, and you do that by writing it this way. Now it doesn't know about the user, so I'll have to do a control space, and I have to import the users like I just did right here. So it's just pointing to users user, this guy right here, right? So now I have users available, and let's just populate this with a few users. So I'm going to make a new set of users here. So there we go, just pasted those in, and of course you'll notice that if I put in properties here that are not allowed, I can try and put in the un property, which is going to be a string. It will of course not validate this as a user. So you do have type specifications here, making sure that you don't put in the wrong types of users. So now we have 3 users available, and we also created our new user, and we actually have a users list that we can validate up against if we are a correct user. And let's just put in lbuilder and ljb, and I like chocolate. So those are the 3 users, and the passwords are fine. I'll save that, and the next lesson we'll try and actually make some real logic that figures out if the user can log in, and if he cannot, we'll set an error message. See you in the next lesson.